84 years old. He and Mama Dr. J have been doing this for decades. You know what I'm saying? Doing this for decades. And I'm going to say that Dr. Jeffrey is one of those historic scholars that sometimes if I'm talking about him, people are just, Jabari historians are sometimes the people that aren't to get me their eyes off of her. When I'm talking to Dr. Jeffrey, they go, oh, you mean Dr. Jeffrey? I'm like, okay, so you didn't hear anything else I said. You just heard Dr. Jeffrey. He's one of those seminal scholars that has done so much in our community, has been at the site of many of the places where people of African descent have been strategizing and planning what will happen next. If there has been a meeting of black folks talking about what we need to do, these two have been there. That's how critical they are. That's how critical they are. He was just telling me a story about him and Alex Haley. I didn't even know that Dr. J knew Alex Haley. I mean, if you think of folks that you are aware of in the lab that have done great things in the last 60 years, these two have been. So, can you please give them some love, some myrrh?
That was Alex Haley. In 1972, I got a $500,000 grant from the Economy Corporation through Good Roots. No extra $1 million down there.
I just heard that story for the first time the other day. So he's been at the site. He was telling me a story about Haile Selassie. We talked about Kwame Nkrumah. We talked about you have to get next to the elders because the other thing is they've done all these amazing things and worked with other people for so long. They want to tell you what they did so we don't try to do it again. Does that make sense? They want to say, this is what we've done. This is what worked. Can you please listen for a minute? They can tell you what worked. And so that's why I'm honored to
That's here. I've never driven from Newark or New York to Philadelphia non-stop. There was nothing, no stops, nothing. It was as if we were coming here no matter what. And so,
Dr. J, 84, listen, I'm 49 and I can't do it without no stop, if you know what I'm referring to. So obviously he's still swinging and moving, right? Wonderful, and I always have to give my brother some love because this is the brother that makes sure that we get more access to them. And so you need to give some love to that brother. It's not always easy to just assist and be in the background, right? One of these days he's going to tell us some of the stuff that he really knows, right? Because if I get a lot from Dr. J and Dr. Robert Jeffrey just speaking to him every now and then, what does he know? What has he heard, right?
too much.
Everything. He knows where the bodies are buried.
Everything.
To that, I'm going to just add
Oh.
all of you know that an elder in our community, whether it's your grandparents, whether it's an auntie or uncle, right, whether it's that next door neighbor. So what you need to do is make sure that their stories are not out, because there's some people that are walking around that look like everyday Joe and Joanna that have a story to tell for our people. So I'm sure all of y'all know somebody that's like that. So we have to make sure that our elders are taken care of and that the lessons that they have can be transmitted to you so you can transmit them to the young people under you. That's how we continue as African people. So I wanted to make sure, because I've seen other elders, Chancellor Williams, Edward Scobie, Dr. Ben, Dr. Clarkton, people weren't there for them the way that they should have been for them. So I've known Dr. J since 1990. Dr. J and Mama J. I said, there's no way, just like how I took care of my grandmother, I said, there's no way that I'm going to leave them out there, swinging in the wind. So I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that that's what we do as Africans. That's right. And we all are supposed to be doing that. So if you haven't spoken to your grannies or your aunties in a while, or that next door neighbor, check on them. Make sure that they're all right. Make sure they don't need anything. That's our tradition.
Can we give our brother Charles some myrrh, some love?
I just want to say that because I see too much of it going on, and then we look at our young people and wonder why they're wild. They have no connection to our elders the way that I did. I grew up, like if I wasn't at my mother's house, I was with my grandmother more during the summertime than I was with my mother. So my mother was a young lady flying in the window and what young people do. I was with my grandmother over the summer, well, my adopted grandfather. And I see a lot of young people growing up now that don't have that connection. Like when I was younger, we used to always, some of you probably remember this, we used to always go down south for the summer. These young people don't do that nowadays. So, you know, some of the things that that's going on, we see the decline in our community. It's because that tradition is being lost. So I want to give it back to you.
One little side
My
note.
first trip to Africa was 1960. 1960 to Nigeria, way up in the woods. And I was way up in those areas, and a woman died right in front of us for lack of penicillin. And so for the years afterwards, we were engaged in way before 911, bringing suitcases of penicillin and suitcases of encyclopedias to little villages all over, etc. And so that's how they got to know they are in school, they are part of our growing process. So that I was born and raised in Harlem Hospital, post-Renaissance period, with a good flair toward the arts as a northern person. My parents came from the South. I went to the opera every Saturday, but before I went, I always heard Malcolm X on the corner of the block where I lived talking. And at that time, he was talking about the atrocities in Lumumba, the Mau Mau, and all of those kinds of things. And so that I got a little conditioning on both sides of the fence between the culture of America and the other thing. But we're here for the tour. And so we appreciate Brother Jabari for the work that he's doing, and glad that you're all here on the tour.
Dr. Robinson definitely just said she appreciates my tour. Y'all can just walk around. I'm going to just lay down and take that for a second.
Well, I have to take and claim it. I was one of these strong black youngsters going through school, top of everything, with white folks. So in 1955, after I graduated, I had to pick a college. So they wanted me to integrate the Ivy League. So I got accepted to Penn. I got accepted to Rutgers. But I didn't go to any of those schools because my buddy from the block, where we used to play stoop ball and doo-wop and all that, Sonny Green, he was the only black person at Lafayette College up the river, up the Del River, so I went to Lafayette. Not for the prestige, because I had somebody here that I could hang with.
That's right. That's right. That's right. It's powerful. Powerful. Before we shift, I want you to look at this statue here. We're going to talk about him briefly, and we're going to walk a little bit further down the hallway. I want you to look at this and see. I was asking, what do you think you're seeing? Is that a kemetic crime? I think it might be fair to call it a crime, but what I want you to take away from this is supposed to be a statue of the and that when the soul, the spirit of the person, the essence of the person wanted to return to the tomb, it was believed that they could actually inhabit the statue. So sometimes people call Ka statues. They Ka is that portion of the kemetic idea of the soul that we share with everyone else. So you know that there are at least 9 descriptions of the soul that the kemetic people use. The Ka soul, the one that looks a little bit like this in the glyph, actually is the one that is a universal soul. Then you have the Ba soul, which is where your personality is. So I think it's just wonderful that our ancestors are telling us that those people who are no longer in physical form could alight, could travel anywhere, could be anywhere they want to be. And that there were sometimes that they would return to the place where they were interred. And so I want you to just think about those people who you have lost in your personal story. And instead of being filled with sorrow, I want you to recognize that they can now be with you easier, do more for you now than they could when they were in physical form. You have to just continue to pay them offerings so they can continue to live. And I've also been told that Abu Ka, well, I'm sure was doing the opening of the way and saying, well, which direction again?
We do it a few different ways.
Yes, we do.
So it
Yes, we
gets
do.
confusing.
So NEAT is connected to what